Get ready for the Squawking Eagles Podcast, the show that covers only the Philadelphia Eagles. Think different. Think Squawking Eagles Podcast.
Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia have won 24 of 26 games. Home, road, good weather, bad, rain, sun, sleet, snow, blowouts, close games, 24 of 26. That's pretty good. Last 2 years, the surest thing in the NFL, Philadelphia is going to win a game. But their schedule, and we had pointed this out weeks ago, got strangely backloaded. So they had to face the Cowboys, really good OD lines, Kansas City, great young defense, Buffalo, and San Francisco, back-to-back-to-back weeks. Rest of the league would have been overwhelmed to go 3-1. And now they're pretenders. 4 straight physical teams in a row. The last one, you're on short rest, heavy snap count, and here come the well-rested, focused, incredibly well-coached, offensively profound Niners. It was pretty obvious it could be ugly fast. Philadelphia is fine. They're the number 1 seed in the NFC. They have absolutely nothing to worry about. This idea, recency bias, standalone big games that Philadelphia is no good is insane.
Hello, and welcome back to the Squawking Eagles Podcast. I am Mike, and I am joined today by Miguel and Mark, and later on we'll have Nat. But first, Miguel and Mark, we're going to talk about a little game on Sunday, 42-19 game where the Eagles lost to the 49ers. And we didn't hear what you had to say, Mark. So before we get into that, hello, boys. How you doing? How's it going?
Hello. You know?
I'm feeling like no yeet.
Well, this is a little deja vu happening.
No yeet. Yeah. My listener, Mike, forgot to hit record, so we're trying this again for the second time. So just bear with us. Mark's going to try to recreate the passion he just laid out 15 minutes ago.
All right. So if you had already listened to the post game, Mike, Miguel, and myself have not heard what Mark has to say. So we're hearing what Mark has to say for the first time.
Before I get into that, I will say I'm happy to be here still because you know what? At the end of the day, we're still 10-2. Which, if my memory works, which it doesn't most of the time, that's the best record in the NFL.
Yeah, still.
And the best record in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still the number 1 team.
Right.
Eat it, opponents. I don't care.
Right.
Look, so we'll start off. For those of you who don't know, pretty famous company around the world, Crayola. They make crayons, colored pencils, and markers. They're based here in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
They've recently announced their first major hire in years. They have a whole new production line, and they've hired our very own Brian Johnson as their very first taste tester because all he does is eat crayons. I'm not going to let go of this story the rest of my life. I'm going to stick with it. This man can't coach his way out of a paper bag. I will not in any way approve of this. I will sit here and tell you right now, we have talked about it many times on this show. When Jalen Hurts got drafted, I was not a fan of that draft. I have since eaten those words. He's proven me wrong. He's proven this team wrong. He's proven this city wrong. And now we're all behind him, loving him every step of the way, pushing and shoving every 1-yard play with love. Sirianni got hired, and I took one look at the guy. I was like, who is this guy? What coaching tree is this from? What does he know? Where's he from? Why does he deserve to be our coach? Since then, we've done nothing but win. We only lost a couple games here and there, but we've won overall more than almost any team in the NFL. He's done a phenomenal job. I've eaten those words. I said, you know what? I love it. You've come in. You become one of us. I love it. Brian Johnson, last year's quarterback coach. I know Hurts was a fan of him, and that's great. Him and Hurts go way back, and that's awesome. That's great. You know who else goes way back? Boyle goes way back with Rodgers. How'd that turn out for the Jets? It didn't, because just because you know someone doesn't mean you belong to be there. You don't deserve to be there. Brian Johnson, go up the road, taste test your Crayola crayons at their factory, not at the Lincoln Financial Field. We came to the game as a team, as a city, ready to take those salty whiners and send them home laughing. And we started off strong. We came in defensively and told them to shut up. This is our playground. And offensively, Brian Johnson sat there going, hey, guys, draw the color red to the left. And they're like, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know. And just started munching his crayons. And our offense literally just fell apart in the red zone repeatedly. We started off the game. Pass, run, pass, right down the field, ready for a touchdown, ready to see us go up 7-0 to start the game. But then it got to the red zone, and suddenly we don't know how to play call, and we go for a field goal. And we, of course, rely on Jake. And I wanted to say out there, Jake, when you have the opportunities, you always put points up for us. So thank you for being amazing, because the rest of our offense struggles because we have Brian Johnson calling it. You know, Brian Johnson doesn't call special teams. So thank you, Jake. Thank you. Second drive. Our defense does its job. We get the ball back. We drive down the field again. Runs and passes, runs. I think I have to actually rewatch the game. Well, I have it playing. I'm going to have to pause it because I can't actually watch it. I want to watch it and count. I know running back-wise, we ran the ball 9 times the whole game.
Well,
which is not a winning recipe.
The final number is 22 runs on our first loss, 18 runs against the 49ers on our second loss.
And as 18. I would like to point out that of this 18, 9 of those carries were by quarterbacks. I say quarterbacks because 2 are by Marcus Mariota, which I will say stepped in, got some positive plays on his plays with one batted down pass. Did what he had to, and as soon as Hurts was ready, got back out, let Hurts go back to work.
Well, because Hurts you said the ball.
No, I'll get to that in a bit. We will get to that.
Okay, because I do have some of the play for you.
I know you do. I will touch base on that shortly. Hurts ran the ball 7 times. Mariota ran the ball twice. So 9 carries for the quarterbacks, 9 carries for 3 running backs. Which I've said it in weeks now. I don't know what definition Brian Johnson looks at when he looks at the players and what they do. But I was pretty sure as a child that running back was one of the easiest positions to know what they do because it says it in their goddamn name. Like, if you don't know American football at all, and I ask you about a quarterback, you literally have no idea what I'm talking about. Wide receiver, you might think it might be something like a computer connect. It's a receiver. But if I say, if I say we have a sport, we have a quarterback, a receiver, and a running back, without question, you're probably going to say, because the running back runs. Because he's the running back. Unless you're in the Eagles, in which case they don't, they stand there and look pretty. Or they get their head blown off on a crossing route, later in the game. And just to touch base with what you also said, further in the Eagles schedule, our other loss, we had that game right here. And in that game, we ran the ball, you said 20 times? 22 times? 22 times. 8 of those being a quarterback.
Right.
So, and again, both games, our quarterback led the team in rushing yards. And as I mentioned before, 8 times to you, if your quarterback's your leading rusher, gonna have a bad day. I know there's rare exceptions. Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields have at times, been their leading rusher, and they've won the game. But they also play in some weird divisions, and they play some pretty junk games. We have a really good offensive line that blocks well, and our running backs run well. If you give them the ball, give them the chance. And people, you were down 42. No, we weren't ever down 42 points. We ended 42-19. But up until, literally the fourth quarter, we were in this game. We score a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and we go up to third. It's what, 28-13? That's a 2-score game. It's still a very contestable game.
Yeah.
You can still run the ball.
It's also a different game if Eagles score 2 touchdowns, those first scores, rather than 2 100%. Field goals. And then Purdy has to pass the ball further down the field rather than his 3-yard screen passes.
Which is crazy, though, because they did, and this is where I will give, I won't take it away from Shanahan. I know it's what he does. I'm going to give it to him. He did what I've been saying to do for 100 years now. If you run the ball, which they did, our linebackers inched up because you don't want Christian McCaffrey getting free.
No.
DeAndre Swift's no slouch. He's literally only 2 behind McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. You don't want him getting free either. He burned us last year with Detroit. Mm-hmm. By pounding the rock early with McCaffrey, which we kept stuffing them first quarter, We didn't let him get free, but we knew they were going to do it, so we kept inching forward. Suddenly, they went, hey, guess what? Debo on a 3-yard slant. Ayuk on a 5-yard in. Like, these quick, short passes were suddenly open.
Right.
Hurts averaged almost more than a second in the pocket per play than Purdy did. Our defense, the not as good defense, was getting after Purdy. Hurts had more time in the world than ever to play, but because they knew it was going to be a throw, they blanketed our receivers because we don't run the ball.
Right. And throughout time, it's you run the ball to set up the pass. You don't pass the ball to set up the run. It doesn't work.
No, you
that
pass
way.
the ball to set up the pass, which becomes a screen. And then if your screen doesn't work, that screen's to set up the other screen, which sets up the third screen, followed by a quarterback draw, the Brian Johnson way.
No, and Mike, you have a point in what you're saying, but there's coaches out there in the NFL that think reverse, that the pass sets up the run.
Yeah.
I mean,
And those coaches end up losing every season.
Yeah.
Look at the Browns.
Right. Look at the brand. Right. So as you can see, we're still a little heated. It's Thursday. This game has been 4 days in our best, and we're still kind of a little sour about it. And there's things that come up during the week that you feel like it's finally finishing off, and that you're starting to feel a bit better about it. And then a certain commentator on, I guess it was ESPN, comes on, and this is his take.
You have to have a serious conversation if you're Philly, and you have to really say, is it better for us to play Marcus Mariota right now and let Jalen get fully healthy? Because I would argue that it does not matter if you're the number 1 seed. Because if the 49ers come into Philly again, they do not care. Like, if you're Nick Sirianni, this is the type of decision and conversation you have to have if you have a big picture mentality. And I think you can have that conversation, honestly, with Jalen. And if you set him down, that's all Jalen talks about, is the end result and getting to the Super Bowl and winning that thing. The best way we can do it, they didn't run the football at all with him. Twice? That's not it, man. That's not the winning edge. Put Marcus in there. Win a couple games. Yeah. Maybe you have the number 1 seed still. You might have it. I'd say he's probably better at playing quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now. Right now, he would be more productive.
Hey, I ain't say that.
He's better at quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles right now. He's saying that there should be more runs for Jalen Hurts, and they're not running Jalen Hurts enough. That's not the answer. That's not the answer.
So I'm torn on this. I will say I'm going to come out.
All right, maybe we should talk to you first about Marcus Mariota taking over.
No, I
as
think
the
we
Eagles.
should, because you guys are all going to have an opinion, and I had a purpose for you had an opinion. No, I think my beliefs
also
are going to
dark beard before you started talking.
What'd you say?
I said I also had a dark beard before you started talking.
Look. In one hand, what he's saying, at least at first, I'm not going to argue is a sensible thought. If Hurts is injured, if his knee is bothered, hold on and I got you. If he's injured, I know he went through concussion protocol or whatever, at least they ran him back for it. Whether or not they actually did it, I don't know. If there's questions of health, or if he's not 100%, I don't mind. I said we're 10-2. There's no chance if you were to start Marcus. If you start Marcus this weekend, which we won't. If you did, look, the Dallas game's going to one way or another, no matter what, because it always does. We could have our team at absolute peak. We could go in there and lose. We could go in there with a backup and kick the shit out of them. Literally, you don't know what's going to happen. It's Dallas. Division games are division games. Seahawks could be an okay game. If you're starting Hurts, we win. If you're starting Mariota, I think we're still going to win it. Giants, Arizona Giants, it doesn't matter. We could literally have Mike here be our quarterback. We're going to win that game. We're going to win those last 3. There's no question. Exactly. So you're going to win those last 3 games. So we're 10 now. We're at minimum 13 wins. We're going to make the playoffs. There's no question.
We already have made the playoffs.
Be eliminated. Exactly. We can't be eliminated. If there's any kind of pain, damage, and it needs to heal up, I get it. And I understand that if you continue listening to what he says, is that if he's injured at the moment, it would be better. Yes, Mariota would be better being healthy. But no, Mariota, look, as much as I love him and I'm an Oregon fan, he is not a better quarterback. And if Carr goes on to say that he is, and he's just a moron. Mariota, as great as he's had his moments to be, he does have 13,000 passing yards in the league. He is a good quarterback. And I think he's going to sit very well in our offense if he does end up playing. But those are all ifs. If Hurts is healthy, you play Hurts. Hurts is your MVP candidate. He is the leader of the team. There is a few things that I would like to point out that I noticed that I would like to see more of. While Mariota's accuracy, we clearly saw on display with that first pass to Smith, where Smitty had to go up to his limit to catch. Bring it down a bit, high horse. He was quick with it, though. He read his plays, and he threw the ball. One of the things that's bothering with Hurts is I think Hurts is, I don't know if he's not seeing the plays as much as he's going, it's a bit risky. Because most of his interceptions are tip balls. They're not like he's just throwing it to someone or like just throwing into tight coverage that gets picked. Most of them are tip balls. He is purposely throwing the ball to an open receiver, and which is obviously great, but I think he's holding it too long, hoping for an open receiver, rather than like last year where I felt like he had the confidence of just, I'm going to make it happen. And I think this whole hate losing mentality has gotten to the point where he's like, I don't want to risk that.
Right.
This is too tight of a window. No, throw the ball, which I will say with Mariota, he did throw the ball. He read the play, got rid of it. Read the play, got rid of it. For the few plays he was in there.
Now, Miguel, during
Right,
the post game, you were saying, and I think I was saying it too, is that Jalen was hurt holding on to the ball. He was holding on to the ball, and nobody was getting open. But that wouldn't he had rather take off with it rather than hold on to the ball that long? Like what do you think, Miguel?
That is, I think I was going to interject real quick. That is something I think Mariota would do, because I don't think he trusts himself to hold the ball that long. Yeah. I think he's more likely to take off, and luckily he's got the legs to do it like Hurts does. Go ahead, Miguel. Sorry about that.
It's all right. First of all, I'd like to give a shout out to Lane Johnson for the hell of a blocking job he did on Nick Bosa.
Oh, was Nick Bosa even on the field? I didn't think he was on the field.
Yeah. Shut him down. Can
I add to that for you?
Jalen had enough time in the pocket at times. Let me say a lot of the times. And I felt like he was rushed, like he was going to get hit when he still had time. All he had to do was step up in the pocket, keep looking downfield, and he would have had ample time to make completions. But like you said, we didn't run the ball. And I think at some point in the season and prepping for this game, the coaching staff told Jalen, don't run too much in this game. We're going to need you for the next 2 games. If everything doesn't go wrong, if we win this, if we lose this game, we're still going to need you for the next 2. We're not going to be able to, put our backups in. And because it just felt like Jalen wasn't being Jalen in certain parts of the game, where he's looking downfield, doesn't see anything, and instead of running for the first down marker, he was just running to the sideline and grabbing 4 or 5 yards here and there. So, I mean, Mike, and I'm gonna say that, but I want to address something real quick because it's been bothering me all week. Giant fans, please get off the 49ers dick, okay? Because y'all are sitting here acting like because we lost to the 49ers, like that's y'all championship. Y'all won, like y'all didn't even play the game. The most I've heard from this week from Giant fans are, oh, you guys got beat by the 49ers. You guys are trash, this, that, and the third. And they want to talk about championships. It's kind of funny how there's these 2 teams in our division that when their season starts going wrong, they start talking about the past and these rings that they've won in the past. You know what I mean? And they seem to lose focus on what's going on in this season. So I like to remind those fans that, tend to be bandwagon hoppers, sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and watch your team in disgrace, because just like we did this week, we sat with it. We wanted this game just as bad as everybody else wanted this game. Mm-hmm. And we're here to talk about it. We're here to say that we're upset about it, but we're not here pointing fingers at the referee. We're pointing fingers at ourselves, whether it be Mark pointing at the coloring book, the coaching staff, the lack of running, the Jalen not making correct decisions, the defense. Where was the defensive line at all game? you have one All-Star Pro Bowl on that offensive line, and you let that line dominate what's supposed to be the best defensive line in football. Come on. It was a lot of embarrassing things that took place in this game. And I mean, if I'm not going to say that it's an excuse, but like Cowherd said at the beginning of the podcast, we played 2 very physical, emotional games, and they were coming off a 10-day rest and coming in here fresh. Well, we just took a beating. We just had an emotional game against the Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch of last year's Super Bowl, only to come and play the Buffalo Bills, which you would have thought they were a super team as well, the way that they played us. In the rain, both games. You know, injuries galore. And it's just, I don't want to make it seem like an excuse, but that takes a toll on these players. And we knew that we weren't going to. If it would have been any other team in the NFL, everybody would have been happy to come out 3-1. And we still got one more important team to play next week, which is, to me, the most important game now because we lost this game. But would you have rather lost this game or lose next week's game against the Cowboys?
You know, personally, it always feels good to take down the Cowboys. You know, like Cowherd said, like teams having this kind of a path of games would be like chomping at the bit to go 3-1, and the Eagles could end up going 3-1. They could also going 2-2, and that's okay. That's okay. But that game, people, non-49ers fans, 49ers fans, all this week have nothing been like, oh, I'm Eagles. Eagles are trash. Eagles got their ass whooped. Eagles don't know how to play football. Eagles don't know how to win without the refs. Like the amount of trash being spoken is, I got to the point where it's a little bit much. It's like a little much. Like it's one game. It was one regular season game. Nobody won the Super Bowl after that game.
Right.
Nobody.
Well,
nobody.
If you like a Giant fan, they kind of did. I don't know why, but
nobody won the Super Bowl. Nobody got a ring for that game. The only thing is somebody got a win, somebody got a loss. And guess what? Going to the next week. That's where we're going right now. We're going to the next week, and I am ready to talk about next week.
Let's do this.
Can I throw a few things out there though?
Go for it.
So I'll say this. I feel like in general though, Eagles fans, there's no wrong. Obviously, we're upset. We don't want to see our team do that.
No.
But I haven't heard people like whining and bitching and moaning about the Niners the way that they did about us for the whole year.
No.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I know we're about to go into a division game. I know we're all very excited to play Cowboys. We always are. But I'll be honest, I honestly have had less to care about the Cowboys this year than I did the Niners because I feel like the Niners just wouldn't shut up. Like I at one point I'm like, I kind of hope we see him again in the playoffs at this point because that's where it actually matters. Like this, like we said, we're still number one. Yeah, it's a bad beating. I mean, they beat the Cowboys 42-10. They beat us 42-19. It happens. They're on a hot streak. They're healthy. Whatever. We had, like you said, we went through. They keep saying like 4 games. We have 5 games, like you said, Miguel, because we got the Cowboys again.
Right. 5
great teams, back to back with a bye week in between the first game. And we just won 3 of them, and we lost 1 against the, arguably the strongest other team in the NFL. After going all these weeks there, yeah, we can try to. Oh yeah, it was a short week, or like with too many snap count, whatever. I don't care. I believe we are better than that. I'm going to continue to believe we're better than that. I still believe it's the crayon muncher, and I hope that moving forward, we don't let him munch crayons on the sideline anymore. I'd rather have Big Dom call the playbook from the parking lot.
Let's not get into that one.
So anyway, with that, go ahead, Mike. Lead us into the Cowboys.
All right, you did bring up Dom, but we're not going to dive into Big Dom yet. This week we are now week 14. Hard to believe that we're week 14 in Dallas. Well, I'm sorry, not in Dallas, in Arlington. We're playing in Arlington, the Dallas Cowboys, and we have our honorary Dallas Cowboy fan who likes to come and join and talk with us. Nat is back. Nat, how's it going, guy?
What's going on, guys?
Welcome back.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back, and glad to see that you guys are finally able to feel what it's like to be talked about in the news all the time and have all these things around you. So welcome to the Dallas Cowboys lifestyle.
You know what? You bring up a valid point because, listen, when you're a good team in the NFL, guess what? They're going to talk shit about you.
That's
over
right.
and over again.
Well, the Cowboys haven't been a good team in the NFL.
I mean,
Oh, is that right? Why do they keep talking?
They always do.
you sure about that?
They always
Media likes to talk about it.
They do love to talk about it.
Well, go ahead. I got something worried about. I want to make sure I say it correctly.
So the Cowboys, I believe, are coming off a bye. Is this a bye they're coming off of playing the Eagles, or no? Did they play last week?
No, we played Seahawks.
Oh, that's right. It was that game where it was last Thursday. That's right. That last Thursday where Seahawks gave Dallas everything that they could handle and more.
That was the best the Seahawks have looked all season.
Right. We were actually recording during that game and giving a little updates. And I thought the Seahawks were going to pull that out, and then all of a sudden they decide not to block Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Don't block one of the best linebackers in football and lose the game.
Let's just let him have a free rush to the quarterback.
Yeah.
I like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll just throw this out here real quick. Now I found it. All right. Would you consider the general sports analysts, the ones that are listening that we just listed of being kind of idiots at the time, would you consider to be very wise or kind of foolish people? I usually consider to be pretty foolish. So,
well, I mean, the rhetoric in the conversation is they're wise, but they don't really talk.
They're not, though. Yeah, they're all kind of stupid, which is why the wise men speak, because they have something to say, but the fools speak because they have to say something. And when the fools are, that's why I said the Cowboys. That makes sense. That's why they talk about you so much. It's foolish.
It's foolish.
Sorry, I had to find that.
Yeah,
the exact quote.
Nice job.
The brain's all messed up, guys.
Now, tell us what has been, in Dallas Nation. How are they preparing for this game against the Eagles?
They're celebrating.
Well, unfortunately for you guys, I think timing-wise, you guys are entering the second game against the Cowboys at probably the worst time possible. You guys had a really tough last couple games. The Cowboys seem to be hitting a really hot streaker at the moment. Dak has been playing lights out here the last 4 or 5 weeks in a row, which we're going to go as far as Dak takes us. So he needs to play elite football if we want to make it to the end. And he's been doing that lately. It's funny how last year the conversation was about these quarterbacks and their interceptions, but this year, because Dak hasn't thrown any interceptions, nobody wants to talk about interceptions. So it's quite an interesting conversation piece. Mark, everyone, they always want to talk about the Cowboys and what's wrong with the Cowboys, and that kind of runs the conversation everywhere. But Dak is playing pretty good. The defense is playing pretty good. I think I think the Eagles are a little nervous coming into the Cowboys stadium this time around. I think maybe they allowed this tough schedule here these last couple weeks to kind of let their wheels fall off against the 49ers. Now, I can't say too much because the Cowboys did the same exact thing against the 49ers. But here's where the thing comes in. Since the 49ers, the Cowboys have been playing lights out. What are the Eagles going to do after they played the 49ers? So
lights out football. They lost the game after the 49ers.
Yeah, who?
Oh, us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They lost us. And then you're right. They played lights out football against a 2-win team, a 1-win team, a 3-win team, and a 5-win team.
Hey, Mark, what do you have to do in the NFL? You have to win, right?
Yeah, and you're
right. We can't choose the schedule. Guess what the Cowboys are doing? Winning. So this is what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to this. It's going to come down to this week. And here's an interesting stat that I want to talk about with you guys. If the we're just going to say if the Cowboys win this game, and then both the Eagles and the Cowboys win out the rest of the season. Have you heard any of the comments about what the tiebreaker thing is they're gonna have to go crazy with all the tiebreakers.
The tiebreaker, I
I'm
believe,
sure.
I was talking to my brother about it. The tiebreaker goes to I think it'll end up being the Arizona Cardinals game. Because potentially that's because it's not the Jets game because the Eagles and they split that, and it's not the 49ers, and it's not the
it starts out head to head, then it goes to division games, then it goes to percentage
like opponents,
and then like opponents. So it's going to be like the fourth tier down.
Yeah.
Is potentially going to be where it's decided. So it's pretty interesting to see where these games could go.
Look, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful to the Cowboys at this moment. All right.
Why?
Now everyone knows. No. Hold on. My next quote. I just want to make a point. I just want to make a quick point.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now we, the podcast, us three, Nat may or may not agree, but the stats are the stats. Have had the toughest schedule in the NFL this whole season. All right. We play the toughest line of opponents. Moving forward. We have the Cowboys, what I would consider the last guaranteed tough opponent we're going to play.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks are mediocre, and then we have 3 games that, yes, they could be trying to throw a wrench at us, but I don't know if Kyler Murray knows how to throw a wrench. I don't know if the Giants know what left is. I don't expect anything out of those games. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to look ahead. There's no point to look ahead. I'm just saying it is. However, on the other side of things, for the Cowboys, once you play us, you have to play the Bills, who are not what they've been and what they're up to be, but they do like to throw. They like to throw sort of weight around. They like to try to give you a fight, and they might. Then you have to fight the Dolphins, who are averaging like 40 points a game. Then the Lions, who are, when they want to be, a very strong team, and when they don't want to be, as bad as Arizona. And then, of course, you get to finish off with the Commanders. I would say, in a world, I would say there's a better chance that even if you beat us Sunday, that we will win every game the rest of the season, and then you guys have to win the rest of your games. I understand it's possible, but I will say I think the hardest part of your schedule, I think, is right now. I mean, you have to play us, the Dolphins. Yeah, we lost the Jets. I get it. Brian Johnson's a moron. It happens.
And what are in the NFC East? What are some of the hardest games for the NFC East?
Division games, always.
Division
right.
games. Always division games. Always division games.
Yeah. So,
however, Tommy DeVito, as cool as he is going to forget his chicken cutlets. From his mom's going to let him get cold, and he's going to have a bit of a hissy fit, and he won't be able to play when it's get close to winter. It's just what happens with the DeVitos. So it is what it is. And Kyler Murray, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I know he's been okay, but let's be honest, Call of Duty's out. We all know what's happening at the end of the year. It's falling apart. You look at his schedule, he goes, "There's no point in me winning because we need a better draft pick." Why is he going to try? There's no point.
Races on the field, unlike Deshaun Watson.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So Miguel, do you have any Cowboys fans that talk to you at work? I can't remember if you have Cowboys fans.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely been trash talking all week to each other.
Right. And they got blown out just as bad as we got blown out by the 49ers. It's just
actually worse.
Trust me, they were just as giddy that the 49ers beat us. They were just
9
as
whole
giddy.
Points.
9 more.
9
You're right.
points.
Yeah,
which,
right.
If you were to just take our scores, we win that game head to head. If it's us and the Dallas with how they perform. But again, I'm just still looking over it, going like, man. I mean, the Giants, the Panthers, the Command, like, bro, you played those are 3 of the worst teams in the league. To say you're hot.
What does the history of the NFL show us? The history of the NFL shows us that teams with the hardest strength of schedule don't usually make it to the Super Bowl because they get
because they're not the Eagles. But we also see that the history of the NFL is the Cowboys choke when it comes to winning things. So. Like, I would put, I'd say it right now, $10 to you, Nat, that the Cowboys are out after the first week of the playoffs. They get bounced week 1. $10.
Let's make it 25.
25 it is.
Oh, okay. All right.
25 it is. Cowboys, week 1 bounce.
There's a lot of concerning things that I have going into this game against the Cowboys.
But I will say they do make the playoffs. I just want to.
They will. The Cowboys are definitely going to make the playoffs, 100%.
Yeah.
Almost as much. I think like Nat could even actually make the playoffs in our fantasy league, and that's
How
impressive.
about
How are you about that? We have to talk about that.
You know what's the worst? It all started with me losing to Nat.
Yeah. You started
After starting off,
you see my matchup this week, though? My matchup is someone who has lost the last 4 games in a row.
Yeah, they're not going to win.
To beat you.
It's done.
So the best part about this is they started off so much better than me, and I'm just going to eliminate them from the playoffs. So
okay, now I gotta look at it. Now I gotta look at these who you're playing this week.
So the thing is, the stats that were coming out this week about our defense, how we live up so much yards on third down. Our third down defense, I think they said it's like the 6th worst in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they brought in Shaq Leonard, they brought Shaq Leonard this week. He is not the savior. He's a Band-Aid, because this guy has had 2 back surgeries over the past year, and he's coming in, and it's going to throw him to the wolves. I don't think he's going to what?
He has to do one thing for this defense.
What's that? Lead it?
Read the offense. That is what has been killing our linebackers since Dean went down. I've heard people argue with me that they try to say Dean's not that good of a linebacker. Watch our defense when he is on the field. Right. He is an engineer. He is looking across the field. He dissects offenses. He knows exactly what's going to happen. And while he might not be the biggest, fastest, strongest player, he adjusts Cunningham and he adjusts Murrow and he bounces the D line around. And our defense is phenomenally better when he's on there. Now, Shaq Leonard, yes, he's banged up. I talked to someone else on Instagram already about this. They're arguing, oh, he's not your savior. He's not. Doesn't need to be.
Nobody's saying
Morrow, and I've said this to people, and people are arguing with me because of this past performance. Morrow is not a coverage linebacker. Morrow does not read offenses very well.
We saw that on Sunday.
When Morrow is in the right position, though, he makes tackles. He throws his body around. So all you need to be if you're Shaq Leonard is, okay, I know this offense. There's like an 80% chance this is the play they're running. Shift this side, be here. You're going to be there for the play. And Morrow goes, yep. Morrow's the other crayon muncher, but at least he does his job.
Well, he also got burned for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on Sunday.
He's not a coverage guy.
He got exposed. And I think hopefully, Zach Cunningham is supposed to be coming back, and he's going to be out there again. He's one of our top tacklers. So I think with him and Leonard, I'd like to see Nolan Smith. I'm a little concerned that we don't even see Nolan Smith on the field as much.
I want him way more.
It's like, I will say though, what do they see in practice that makes him not want to be on the field, putting him on the field?
I can't imagine this, because everything I read and follow from the practice sounds like he's doing a phenomenal job in practice. He's impressing the players. He's impressing the coaches. Why he's not being played, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I will say though, one thing that bothers me going from last year to this year, I understand that we wanted to make some changes in our team, and we drafted some players and such. We carry 6, maybe 7 corners at the moment. We keep rotating the young guys because no one can seem to do a good job.
Yeah,
I would have rather let 1 or 2 of those go and kept Kaiser White and had Kaiser White, Cunningham, and Dean with Morrow as like a backup.
Right, with hindsight, 2020 hindsight here.
Well, no, it's not even hindsight. You go back to the podcast. I said directly back then, don't let go of Kaiser White.
Yeah. Well, when we did our predictions, we did not want him to go anywhere.
No, I think that's hurting us. Because without, and granted, I stand by my point a minute ago. If Dean does not get injured, we don't have the same conversation.
No, I agree.
While
100%.
Dean's injured, it shows you how weak we are at linebacker again, which has been my entire life as an Eagles fan up until last year. And then this year, it's like, okay, we got some young talent, and they get hurt. And I've said it to Nat before, and I'll say it to every Cowboys fan again. It's the one thing I hate about the Cowboys is that for some reason, their owner looks around and goes, what really good linebackers are out there that other teams are going to want? Sean Lee, Micah Parsons, Leighton Vander Esch. And so for the past 15 years of my life almost, I've had to watch the greatest linebackers I've watched in college go play in Arlington. And I hate it.
The thing is, though, Shaq Leonard, he picked the Eagles. So that's kind of like a good thing. Yeah, the fact they're going to be playing against the Cowboys is kind of like some motivation, right? Some motivation.
Well, he wants to be on a contender,
right? A Super Bowl contender.
Come on, yeah.
Shot fired.
All of that.
Yeah, the thing also, if the Eagles win this game, it's they kind of like sews up the division for them. I don't see them losing 2 games against the Giants. Whereas before, we've said, when we did our predictions, we were going to lose that one game to the Giants. But like the Giants' backups are so bad, I don't even think the Eagles' backups can lose to them.
If somehow, let's say like we win this next game and then we beat the Seahawks and then we beat and then we lose one to the Giants and we beat the Cardinals and we just end up losing to the Giants a second time. We lose 2 games to the Giants.
Yeah.
I will on podcast cut up an Eagles jersey.
Right. That would be
if we lose both games to the Giants, I'm not having it, my guy.
Yeah. I don't like this, like the back-to-back games like that, like Giants, Cardinals, Giants. I don't really
I will drive down to the link or the NovaCare complex and I will throw crayon to Brian Johnson for the rest of the season if we lose 2 games to the Giants.
Hey, look at fans went down there Wednesday, 7:30 in the morning, went down to the NovaCare complex, held a sign outside, run the ball. Nick Sirianni sent coffee outside to them. All right, we accept you. We accept your passion, and we think we might need to run the ball. I think they're going to run the ball a lot this week.
No, I bet they won't.
No, I think they're going to. I think they're going to run the ball a lot.
If we get 12 carries from Swift.
Well, because I need a running back, and Swift is my running back, and I need points. So I'm going to say Swift is going to get a lot of running.
I'm playing you in fantasy. I'd rather lose this fantasy game and end up in a bad spot just to see Swift do something. But knowing our play calling, you're all your hopes rest on Achane because you're just not going
to be playing from behind the whole game, so he's not going to be getting any runs.
No, he's not wrong. He's playing behind Hurts, pushing it into the end zone repeatedly. So,
but that's
he does that a lot.
The Eagles were dead. The end of the middle of the half for the 49ers game. They were down 10, 12? No, I forget. They were still down. They were playing their game. They were definitely playing the game that they're used to playing. It's just that the second half, the 49ers scored 6 straight touchdowns. Like. They had gotten out of control. It had gotten out of control. I don't think this Cowboys game is going to be a getting out of control thing. I'd like to see it's going to be a lot closer. I'd like to see like the Eagles make a point here and say, "Hey, we are the juggernaut of the NFL, and we can destroy teams who are Super Bowl contenders in a matter of seconds." So that's where I'm leaning towards.
Can I make another comment I wanted to pull out here?
Yes.
Prior to coming on here tonight, I saw a report talking about how, like, well, you can't really blame us for not running the ball because, the Niners have the number 1 run defense. Do you know in what field they actually are the number 1 run defense? And you could say it's yards allowed, and you'd be kind of right because it's tied with the Bears. However, where they're really number 1 is the fewest runs against them. It's not hard to stop the run when nobody runs the ball on you. You actually allow almost 4 yards a carry, which isn't really that good. However, because they've only faced, in attempts, they faced 243 runs, which is the least in the NFL. By a pretty good margin. Now, granted, we're up there as well. The Eagles have only faced about 260 runs, and then the Jags and Bears, but the numbers start climbing pretty quickly to the 300 plus, 330, almost 400 runs faced.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not hard to allow the fewest runs or rushing yards when you're not facing runs. Whereas the Cowboys, let's actually look. Where are you guys in this stat? The Cowboys have faced 313, and the Cowboys average about the same amount of yards per carry allowed as the Niners do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you say you guys have the best rushing defense in the NFL this year?
No.
It's weird because according to the Niners fans, you definitely should. You've allowed about the same amount of yards.
Right.
Weird. It's almost like, I will admit it, we have a Cowboys fan who has his mind in reality and not delusional like a Niner.
I posted this tweet, I guess, from Jeff Skversky.
Jeff Bezos, got it.
Right. So he said the Eagles were also 10-2 in 2017 after a rough 14-point loss to the Seattle Seahawks, their worst loss of the season. The Eagles rebounded by winning the Super Bowl. So Instagram,
Weird.
and we have this Instagram user. His name is Brian Jackson. He DM'd me and he said, if we would have won and then let's say we beat the Cowboys following the week, we wouldn't have to play a meaningful game for the next 5 weeks. If we got the fire out of the bellies of the 49ers, so we got the fire out of the bellies of the 49ers, we'd rather play them overconfident than hell-bent on revenge. We beat the Cowboys and Seahawks, and we probably only need 2 or 3 to finish, but we still stay sharp heading into the playoffs. I think it was a blessing in disguise losing to the 49ers. It could very well be that. It could very well have been a blessing in disguise, getting blown out like that and having that, they always talk about that dog mentality. Sirianni is always talking about the dog. That's what Shaq Leonard said. I'm here because of the dog mentality. Maybe, that underdog mentality is going to start coming out, and I think the Cowboys are just kind of in the way right now.
See, the problem with that is you've got the hungry dog mentality, and then you've got I'm on my back, rub my tummy, Brian Johnson dog mentality. And we need to get rid of that.
Hey, Nat, I don't know if you've noticed, but Brian Johnson is not the most liked person on our podcast.
I can tell. But what happens when you lose 2 games back to back? Does it become the tail between the legs dog mentality?
Oh,
I mean, I'll be honest. If it were to happen, I would hope it comes more of we release them, fucker. Fire Brian Johnson mentality. That would be my hope.
We went into that San Francisco game, people talking about Brian Johnson as a head coach next year and that we were going to lose him. And we were saying,
Please,
go for it, please. Like, take him. At
Someone
this point,
take him.
I actually miss Shane Steichen, for all things. I actually miss that guy.
I miss Chip Kelly at this point.
We all know you miss.
My
again,
gosh,
Chip Kelly makes his name.
No, I had to say it.
This podcast at least once somewhere. At least.
Honestly, though, honestly, he'd be a better offensive coordinator than Brian Johnson. I stand by that. If you don't give him the head coach and the GM role, you just let him be an OC. Guess what? He was an OC for years with a bunch of teams moving up, and then he became a head coach and just look what he does.
Yeah,
he makes offenses thrive.
Look what he does. Yeah. Killer team. All right, so let's talk.
Weird how we won a Super Bowl with that team.
Again, see, I don't know if you've heard that, but Mark contributes our Super Bowl victory to Chip Kelly, who wasn't even
hold up. I contribute the build of the team that ended up winning the Super Bowl to some of the decisions made by Chip Kelly.
You can also tell Miguel and I are doing.
It's a reach. It's a reach, Matt. It's a reach. It's a reach.
The Cowboys hear it all the time with Jerry Jones when he bought the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Barry Switzer's Super Bowl was really Jimmy Johnson's Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Barry Switzer did not win a Super Bowl. It was Jimmy Johnson's Super Bowl.
Oh,
that I will agree with. Chip Kelly, no. I'm sorry, no.
That's like the same way with what was it? Oakland or Tampa when John Gruden got taken from Tampa, or what was it?
It was when John Gruden took over. Well,
he got hired from Tampa to Oakland. They met in the Super Bowl, and then Tony Dungy, Tony Dungy beat him with his own team.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I still like Tony Dungy as a coach.
I love Tony Dungy as a coach.
Yeah.
I have Tony Dungy's autobiography somewhere over there.
Nice.
All right, let's talk scores for this game. Nat, what do you got for us? The last time you were on the podcast, you picked the Eagles to win that game.
Yeah, and I was right, wasn't
I? You were completely right. So, what are you picking today?
Oh, I don't know. I think Cowboys.
Nah, you're crazy.
So
I'll be down in a minute, please. Please do not.
The last time that I was on here, I voiced my opinion. I was right with that opinion, and I'm going to stick to that opinion. And I think the Eagles are going to be coming into this game, and they are going to be frustrated with the Niners and everything that happened. They're going to come in as like that big dog barking, and that big dog barking, that's all bark, no bite. And the Cowboys are going to send them packing with the tails between the legs. I think this is going to be the Cowboys. Was it the last Now, since we've played the Eagles, we've had almost every game with 40-plus points. So
Yeah.
Cowboys, they seem
worst
to
defenses in the league.
the Cowboys seem to have everything put together. Dak is playing. Brandon Cooks is putting something together. I think Ferguson, tight end, I think he's going to have a 2-touchdown, close to 100-yard game. And your secondary, the weak spot of the Eagles, is everyone in the NFL is going to realize, hey, the 49ers showed us something. The Cowboys doubled down, and the Eagles are in trouble.
You have points for us? Give us some points.
Points for us. Sorry about that.
Let's
go 38-17.
Wow, 38-17 Cowboys.
Interesting.
Wow. Yes. Miguel, what do you got? What do you got for me, buddy?
Well, I've been fairly quiet today, letting Mark get, his frustration out today. I said what I said that I needed to say about the Giants fans and hopping on, the 49ers back and riding their coattails for the rest of the season. But Nat, you did some shooting back there too, man. I let that slide for a little while, man. But I don't appreciate the disrespect in here. The weakness of the Eagles defense is the middle of the field. It's the linebackers. It's not so much the secondary. It's the middle of the
Ferguson
field.
run right between them linebackers.
That's fine. He's more than welcome to come over the middle this week. Let him come through. Got a little Shaq Ferguson Shaq Leonard action for him. Hopefully, Shaq let some held back tackles out this week. But listen, my biggest complaint all season is we've been playing mediocre football. We've been winning games, but it was only a matter of time until somebody was going to smack us in the face by playing mediocre. Mm-hmm. And the 49ers came in last week, and they proved they are a dominant team. Now, it's about adjustments. What's our coaching staff going to do? How are these players going to respond to this ass whooping? And I'm sorry, Nate. I just think that these players are going to take it out on you because this is really the last important game on our schedule. There's no reason for us to stress ourselves out more as a franchise and not put everything into this game to close out our season. I mean, we can look, but I think Seattle's going to be a difficult game, but after Seattle, I can see a boatload of rest for a lot of important players on the team. So with that being said, I feel like they're going to have something to prove. They're going to have a lot of anger in them, especially, Swift is going to want to prove that he's a quality running back, that he's not somebody that's been labeled as a soft in the NFL based on his injury riddled past. And I think they come with a lot of fervor in this game. And I think the Eagles pull this one out. I'm going to say it's going to be a 32-20 type game.
32-20.
Yeah.
32-20 birds. It's 20 points. Wow. Okay. 20 points. Mark, what do you got?
I say that I say it that way because we didn't put any points up against the Niners.
Yeah.
We have to fix our red zone issues. And I've been the main one saying that we cannot keep going into this fucking red zone and coming away with field goals.
No, can't.
We've been repeating every week. We've been saying the same thing. And I think that this week they have to nail this going into our playoff run.
I agree. You can't trade field goals for touchdowns. I say it in the in-game reactions. I'm saying it now. You trade field goals for touchdowns, you won't win the game at all. Mark, you want to go? Or you want me to go?
Oh, you can go. Go ahead.
Okay. I was not nervous going into that 49ers game. I had confidence that the Eagles were going to beat the 49ers. They did not. They didn't show up. And when they finally started to show up, it was too late. I don't know if the Eagles can beat the Cowboys this week either. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the Eagles are going to make this a close game. And I don't think they're going to beat the Cowboys on Sunday. And so I'm picking the Cowboys 28-10. That's me.
Wow, Mark. I mean, Mark, Mike.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah. Mark?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm Mark. He's not Mark.
Yeah. I knew you were going next, and then I was.
Yeah.
He just blew me away. What he's saying.
I mean, I get it. You know what? When you're a part-time fan, you're a part-time fan. That's how it goes.
I bleed Independence. I bleed Indianapolis blue. Come on.
Yes, clearly, man. It bleeds out a little bit deeper in the South, don't it?
That's right.
So look, the last time we played the Cowboys, I'll admit this with disgusting grossness, feeling the taste of my mouth. Dak played a really good game. Dak threw the ball for 374 yards?
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, no interceptions, as Nat likes to look. He hasn't thrown 12 yet this season. I'm as shocked as the rest of you.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Super shocked.
Now, granted, more than 50% of his passing yards went from one guy who somehow didn't score a goddamn touchdown, CeeDee Lamb, because I bet he would that week. So I guess that's on me. Now, I believe CeeDee Lamb, not the Cowboys as a whole, but CeeDee Lamb's going to get his revenge by actually scoring this week. But I think it's going to cost him yardage. I don't think he's going to have as good of a game yardage-wise, but he will score a touchdown this week. However, I look at it, and I've been kind of juggling this around. I knew going into this, all the talk about the gauntlet. And anyone who's watched this show, listened to us, knows that I feel that we are the gauntlet. We are the toughest team. Do you know why the Cowboys are excited to play this game? Because we are the toughest team they're facing the rest of the season. Why were the Niners so excited to play us? Because we were the toughest team they're facing the rest of the season. Every team we play for the rest of the year, we're the hardest, toughest team they're going to play. Because that's who we are. We are the toughest team in the NFL, even with last week's abysmal performance, our loss. Now we're going to come down to Arlington, a little pissed off, a little rested, a little banged up. It's, late season. And the Cowboys, well, they're feeling good, man. The Cowboys, you know why the Cowboys are feeling so good? The Cowboys have a little bit extra rest, having played a Thursday night game. They played a tough game in the Seahawks. Now, Seahawks are particularly tough, but the Cowboys beat a team with a winning record. It's
6-5.
Wow, what a crazy thing to happen this season. Because prior to that, they got themselves on a nice run-up, man. They got out of our loss. When they came here and we beat them, they said, we're going to take it out on the Giants. And they did. They said, beat them. They finished up with the Giants. They said, we're not done yet. And they went to Carolina and they beat the Panthers. Even though technically I guess the Giants came down to them. But you know my point. And then they had the Commanders coming to town and they beat the piss out of the Panthers. Well, then they faced the Seahawks, who are, let's be honest, better than the Panthers, the Giants, and the Commanders. And it was a really good game. It was a close game, shocking to most. Well, now they play us. Yes, they are more rested. We're pissed off, and I think that they are overhyped on themselves. I think they're super excited because, like we heard Nat say himself, they're on a hot streak, beating a bunch of pushovers. They're the bully on the block that went through and beat up all the kindergartners, and when the other kids come out on the playground, they run and hide. Look how they played against us or how they played against the Niners in the past. We're going to come down to Arlington on Sunday, and it's going to be a dogfight. You see, Jake Ferguson, whatever his name is, he had a little bit of a way against us. CeeDee Lamb had a little bit of a way against us, but we said, we're not dealing with this. And we went out and got Kevin Byard, who's a very good safety, very good at covering tight ends. Just ask Travis Kelce. Thank you. And then you got CeeDee Lamb. And now CeeDee Lamb, he hurt us. I'm not going to look. I put CeeDee Lamb up there with the Justin Jefferson and the Jamar Chase as being one of the best receivers in the and Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown. Let me get their names in there because I know someone will bitch. Up there's one of the top 5-6 receivers in the NFL. There's no denying it. If anything, I would argue that if you had a quarterback who wasn't Dak, and I know Dak's having a better season, but if you had a better quarterback, CeeDee Lamb would probably be up there fighting Jefferson for some of the top stats every year. He is a very good receiver. He was in college. I was excited to see where he went. And just like the linebackers, I get excited to see he went to the worst place in the NFL. Be that as it is, one man can't do the job except Sirianni. If Sirianni were to stuff a sock in Brian Johnson's fat mouth, then we get to come down into Texas and show them that we own Texas and that we own this division. And we plan to continue owning this division for a few more years. So we're going to come down. This is not going to be some kind of blowout call out like it was the past weeks. I'll be honest. Look, nothing hurt me more than knowing that my called number for last week went the other way.
That's right.
That hurt really deep. But as I mentioned, we're rivals with the Cowboys. I know the game's going to get gritty. They always are. But the Niners, they just pissed me off all year. I wanted to just beat the shit out of them. That's why I was so emphatic about the score last week. This week, I'm more down to earth. We're going to win the game 23-17. A touchdown for Dallas, if he plays for the Eagles. A touchdown for CeeDee Lamb. Maybe we'll get lucky and see a run, and DeAndre Swift will score a touchdown. But I think Lamb, and I think if Dallas Goedert plays, the Dallas Goedert scores in Dallas. It's just what he does. Go Birds.
You're correct. Dallas Goedert is scheduled to come back and play against Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night.
With a broken arm.
Who they broke his arm in the last game.
Yep.
Yes, this is quite divided scores here. With 38 points scored by the Cowboys, that's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting game, to say the least. I hope I'm wrong.
I'll put it this way: next week podcast being brought by me and Miguel, because Eagles fans are on the podcast next week. We're not doing this next week. There's no Cowboys fans here next week.
I just
love you. We'll talk to you next season.
But, I just see the Eagles going into this game just not responding to this game. Especially you got Lane Johnson just winning the
nominated
for a beautiful nomination, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah. We'll post it on our Instagram. The Jeff Stoutland introducing his nomination to Lane Johnson.
And Jason Kelsey gets emotional about everything.
Jason Kelsey got very emotional. I know we've been talking about the Cowboys, but there's been a development online about what's this guy Phillips? His name is Phillips.
Oh my God, what a dude
on the Buffalo Bills. He's the guy that.
Hold on, Matt. When you guys play, do me a favor. When you guys play the Bills, beat the hell out of this guy.
when the
He's
Bills
got a point though.
Huh?
He's got a point though.
Let me tell you. Let me say what he said, and Nat, I'd like to hear your side of it. So this guy Phillips, he's the guy that jumped off sides during the brotherly shove and took Cam Jurgens and laid him flat on his back. He said this about Jason Kelsey.
Look at the tush push. He dives at somebody's knees every play and tries to roll him up. So for him to speak on somebody being dirty, I don't think he has any right or any means to call for a fine when he does a whole bunch of stuff like. So I just think that's kind of crazy for him to even mention that. I'm 335 pounds. How am I going to stop regardless? How do I know that the ball wasn't going? After I saw him move, I put my eyes on him, and I'm going to go. Even if they would have got that play off, it's just either them hitting us or us hitting them. Like, you can dish it out, obviously, but you can't take it. So that's just soft. He is a well-respected guy around the league for whatever reason. And now he suddenly has a voice because he's on his brother's podcast and whatnot, so he thinks he can use it. But the way he's using his voice, it doesn't make any sense.
So what he's talking about is that he thinks that Jason Kelsey is going after people's knees during the brotherly shove, and that just because he's on his brother's podcast, that he thinks he has a voice now. I thought that was an interesting little take. Nat, I know, Mark, you have something to say about it. I know, Miguel. I want to hear from a Cowboys perspective. What do you have to say? What do you think?
Well, I think there's a reason why so many people are against the tush push in the Eagles thing.
Because you suck.
Right. And when you look at what his comment is about diving at the knees, whenever you look at any aerial view of the tush push, Kelsey does not even attempt to block a soul. All he does is dive right at the knees of whoever is at him, whatever way he wants to go. Whoever's close to him, if the guard is closest to his left shoulder, the guard is closest to his right shoulder, whatever he does, he goes right at the knees every time. So what the guy's saying, is it true? Sure, it's true. Is it dirty? It's football. But I don't know. I think a lot of hotheads are just saying a lot of stupid stuff. I will say the whole podcast thing with the brother thing, I think that was a pretty good shot.
It was a pretty funny shot. It was a funny shot that he's on his brother's podcast. That was pretty funny.
That's a great shot. But
yeah. What do you say? Go ahead, Miguel. Go ahead.
I don't understand. Like, we're all in agreement that the brotherly shove is just a better version of the quarterback sneak, right?
Yes.
Okay. When they line up to do the brotherly shove, you know it's coming, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you don't, we tell you.
If that's what they think that he's going is going under for the knees, why isn't the defensive tackle jumping back, pushing Kelsey down, and just going over the top?
Yeah. The thing is, though, the only thing the difference between the quarterback sneak and the brotherly shove is that the quarterback is going forward and not being pushed during your quarterback sneak. That's the only difference is being pushed.
I couldn't.
Go for it,
Let me share this. I'm going to show the video for you guys.
Do it.
Because I can't help myself. All right. I'll make sure I get the right screen. Here we go. Probably having 3 screens. All right. I clicked the first clip. No disrespect to the current company, but actually take it. I would like you guys can all see this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, before I hit play, we don't have to watch the clip if you don't want to, Nat. I want you guys to look at this play, and I want you to tell me in what world is Jason Kelsey going to dive and make contact with someone's knee and wrap it up in the position that he is lined up against the opponents and how they are lined up? Because whenever we do this, you watch every D tackle do the same thing. It is a 4-point stance. They are as low as they can get to try to beat us. They're hitting shoulder to shoulder. I'm going to hit play. Ready? Now, you might see there, my Lotta here, he at one point was almost standing upright. Yes, Kelsey stays low because it's weird. It's almost like day one they teach you in football, the lower man wins.
Mm-hmm.
You stay low. He launched forward, shoulder to shoulder, into, I apologize, I don't know your nose tackle or D tackles as well. I know you've got some great linebackers. You've got some defensive ends. I don't know your D tackles as well. But he launches into one of your D tackles, shoulder to shoulder. And let's see, this is not going to let me scrub very well. It's not a very good recording. Yeah, it's not. It's the frames are like 10 seconds apart. What the hell? But I mean, like right here where you can actually see the start of it. I mean, I wish it would like not be gray for me, but you can see where the helmets are lying. Like his helmet is going directly between the shoulders, and they're going to go shoulder to shoulder. If you're getting hit at the knees on this play, you're out of position. He's not and most
out of position. You just said the name of the game is going low. Lower man wins. So Kelsey is going low. What's lower than shoulders?
But so is the defense. But so are the if look at the way you're lined up. You're not hitting someone's knees like that. The defensive players are as low. You're hitting shoulder to shoulder.
That's why I said you need the overhead shot.
Even with the overhead shot, they're all laying down like this, and they go like that.
Right. So once they lay under, they're saying that they're once he's under, he's hitting his knees after he gets past his shoulders. That's what he's saying.
Yes, you're right. You know what? When he gets under and there's 800 to 2,000 pounds of man laying on him, yep, he's in full control to try to wrap up someone's legs and hurt them.
Yeah.
You know what, Jordan Phil? You got us. all you do is put a few 1,000 pounds on us, and we're gonna hurt you.
Yeah,
that's not how that works. That's not how the play works. Like Kelsey has said it, other players have said it. It's like you guys said, it's the QB sneak. You get down, you push, you win. Other teams aren't doing well, and I'll put it out there because you know what? I know I'm going to hate it for it. Anyway, let me put it out there. We ran it this past week against this amazing D line that is San Fran with who was the quarterback for that? Oh, wait, not Hurts, but with Mariota, and we still got it.
Yes. That was a point they kept talking about, that Mariota was able to do it without Jalen Hurts. They were able to do it without Jalen Hurts. And that was an interesting thing that they were talking about. That was the biggest thing, though. Jalen Hurts can do it because he's got the 600-pound squats.
I'm sure it helps.
It helps.
I'll put it to you this way.
Helps.
Mariota got the first down.
Yeah.
Hurts gets 2-3 yards.
Right.
The first down.
If you notice, so, Jalen Hurts he kind of just rides the back of Jason Kelsey. He's not really pushing too much. He's just riding the back. Mark, if you send me that clip, I'll put it into the podcast. So yeah, this week has been interesting. A lot of people talking about the Brothers Shove and how the Eagles are terrible and that they aren't, they're not going to be making the Super Bowl. They shouldn't be in the playoffs because of the way they played. Hey, they're in the playoffs. They've made the playoffs. They're there. They're in it. They're in it. So I'm not too concerned about that. Do you guys have anything else? Any final words to put into?
I do. I got one. Hold on.
Let's hear it, Miguel.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me get this right.
Go ahead.
First off, I want to say fuck the Cowboys. Yo, it's Deshaun Jackson. First off, I want to say fuck the Cowboys.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Deshaun Jackson. Thank you, Deshaun.
You know
Jackson.
what? You got me. I wish I had a clip ready because I have a clip in my head that I'd like to play. I just don't have it ready. But I remember there was another podcast, and they were interviewing the great T.O. And they asked him, who's the best fan base, the Niners or the Cowboys? And he said, look, it's the Eagles. Because they're the best. And the podcast was furious, but guess what? He knows the facts. He was there. It's how it is, man. We're real. We're here because we love our team, and we're going to make it. It's just true.
And we're excited to watch this game. And please listen to the post-game podcast with our in-game reactions. I'm sure they're going to be.
We'll have them this week.
We'll hear them, and hopefully, Nat, you can put some in there for us, too.
Yeah,
are you watching this game?
Talk about how terrible the game's going.
We're gonna have some. We're gonna have some in-game takes for that.
Well, because I remember last time Nat was busy, right? Like I think you got some in, but you were.
Yeah, it was a 1 o'clock game that time.
It was that 1 o'clock game.
But this is a nighttime game, or nighttime,
late.
Late game.
8 o'clock.
Yep,
So Nat, you're watching?
Oh yeah, but I'll be able to watch this game.
Awesome.
We're gonna get your sad thoughts too.
No, there won't be any sad thoughts. If I remember right, last time we talked about this, I think you were talking, Mark, of how that the Eagles Cowboys are going to split, and
probably
you went back on those words real quick.
I
stand by this. I will say,
you stand by the Eagle homer, and you only ever pick the Eagles.
Back in August, we all did our predictions, and we did pick this game as a loss. The three of us agreed. The three of us agreed.
We did. However, I will say I predicted it to be a loss because I figured that the energy spent on the Niners game would have worn us out because after all those games, a short week, and coming in with a huge energy game and winning like that, we'd be exhausted. We're not going to play the best football. However, we played terrible football because we played Brian Johnson football.
No energy was exerted. No energy was exerted.
Yeah. So now
this week either.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game.
We'll see.
It's going to be another pickle juice game. Let's go.
I think
pickle juice game.
I think CeeDee Lamb scores a touchdown. I don't know if Ferguson's going to this time. I think CeeDee Lamb scores a touchdown. And I think that you guys are going to sit there and go, what the hell is wrong with our season? How did we lose this game? And I go,
you guys been happy for way too long. It's time to bring it down the peg.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it back down.
In all honesty, there is a chance we lose this game. I get it. We do typically split with the Cowboys, but I just feel like right now The team needs this win. The team wants this win. And I think we duct tape Brian Johnson and mail him to England, and we'll win the game. That's all we got to do.
And we'll have our Brian Johnson coloring book at the end of the season for Mark.
You know what? You know what? It'll be on our merch store by the end of the season.
That's right.
I was gonna say you need to come up with something, Mark.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
A color your own.
That'll do it for us. I'm Mike, Miguel, Mark. Nat, thank you for coming on and talking. I'm Mark. Oh, apparently I am Mark because Miguel got us. I threw Miguel for a loop. Yeah. That's what happened.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
And I'm an Eagles fan.
Yes, I am. I am apparently not this week. I am not this week.
You are not.
So if you want to follow us on Instagram, Squawking Eagles Podcast. You can follow us over on YouTube, Squawking Eagles Podcast, over on X, TikTok, all those other stuff. Until next week, enjoy the game. And Miguel,
you know how we do. Fuck the Cowboys. EAGLES.
Eagles.
Go Birds.
At least you know how to spell.
Go Birds. Go Birds.
Hit that music.